Hey, so I know it's been a while, the winter and just some things in life, right, kind of just got in the way. Now that it's summertime, we got a lot of mods going in, so I've already gone in and I'm going to do some retro videos about what went into getting it done. And we'll do some on the fly, like this one. So what we have here now is that if you're driving a manual transmission in your Challenger, which I believe at this point is the RT57, the Scat Pack 6.4, and the Hellcat 6.2 supercharged, not the Red Eye, you can get manual transmissions. And if you're driving one, you know that the stick that it comes with is just absolute garbage, right? It's really, really just sloppy. The centering springs are not very strong. It doesn't return to center really very well. It's very easy to have missed shifts because there is no real sense of where you are a lot of times. It's not very good, right? So if you really want to just kind of want to cruise around, it's probably okay. But if you want to push your car any harder, if you've put in any performance mods into it, it becomes really important to upgrade this shifter, right? Otherwise, you're spending money, you're spending time, you're trying to get performance, and the human connection to the car is just not great. So step one, buy a skip shift eliminator. I'm not going to talk anything more about that right now, but I will bring another video so you can see what a skip shift eliminator actually is and what skip shift does. So we'll talk more about that separately. So for today, though, I am swapping out the entire shifter, right? This is not just a stick, right? From the boot up, right? Or from the console up. That's not just this. It's the whole mechanism. All right, so here's what we've got, right? So, right, if we look here, we can see I've got a brand new Barton in here, and this thing is just heavy duty, just solid, well machined, super precise. I mean, this is just what you expect from these guys. I mean, they really don't need any introduction. I mean, it's this or Hurst. So one of the reasons why I went with these guys was simply because I really like the adjustability on this, right? You'll see when we put these on there, it gives us some options about just, these are not circles, right? So these ovals allow you to make small adjustments, right? Like left and right, so now you can have your stick move left, right, or lean forward, back, right? And this is in the natural position, right? When this thing is sitting in neutral, this is naturally in the middle. This gives you opportunity to just adjust, where you want the resting position to be. Right, and we've got, right, just some extra pieces here. I'm going to go through what all these things do here. This is obviously just like a seal, right? Goes underneath the boot, right? And all these other things. Now, just to give you an example of how well machined this stuff is, listen. Right? That's like a tuning fork, right? This is just solid metal, just like really, really well-made stuff. So there you go. Here's the hardware. And then for the stick itself, well, we're going to hang on and I'm going to reveal that in a little bit. All right, what we've got here are all of the pieces needed, right? This is just a hardware bag to connect everything together. Nothing super exciting there. We'll get that out of the way. This is really what you're here to see, is this. So as you might have guessed, it's Barton. Barton and Hurst are really the only two that are worth anything. These guys are amazing. I went with them over Hurst for a handful of reasons. Some of it really just boiled down to aesthetic. Some of it was also just, recommendations from other people. And really anybody you talk to, they'll tell you that these are the guys, right? So you've got these legs, which are just, oh my God, beyond sturdy. Everything here just feels like great quality. It's really well machined. You're going to see when I fit some of these pieces together, you're going to be blown away. So this is it here, right? Obviously, we're going to have some pieces that connect over here. And this is the shifting. So you can see it really just doesn't move a lot. It is just a really short movement. So that's that. Then we have two of these pieces, right? And you only need one if you're going to be using the original stick and ball. If you're going to spend the money on this, I don't know why you would use that, but you could. You will need two if you're going to add their flat stick or anything else that they offer. Then you've got this as well, and this is what the stick connects to up here. And this is going to slide over top of the mechanism connected by what I just showed you a minute ago. I mean, if you really want to get a sense that this is solid metal that is really just machined very, very precisely, I'll show you. Here's how we do it. It's like a tuning fork. right? Nothing about this is hollow. This is not multiple pieces. This is not out of whack in terms of any kind of warped or unevenness. I mean, that is just a solid, beautiful tone telling you the quality that you paid for. And then here, right, so this is just the underside boot, right? This is what goes inside the console beneath everything. That's that. And then here is just another bracket that goes on the back. It goes this way with the screws facing the front. But again, you've just got this, right, these, where is it there? They're rubberized around the inside of it just to make it fit nice and tight and smooth, and that goes in there. Right. The reason why I went with the Barton over anything else really comes down to a couple of things. As I mentioned, some of it's aesthetic, some of it is like anecdotal quality, but then there's also this. You'll notice that these two, this is where the handle slides in from the top, just circles. All right, this is going to keep you locked into place, but these obviously are not. And what does that tell us? It's that when we put this on down here, right, we can thumb tighten these. And then once we get everything set up, you can lean it a little bit this way or a little bit that way. And what that really means is that the stick, once it's in the car, can have when it's in its natural position in neutral right in the middle, you can have it lean left or right, basically whatever is most comfortable to you ergonomically speaking. You can do that. There's going to be this here, this semicircle here is because once this goes down on top of everything and you've got the stick, this is facing front of the car, back of the car. You can also do the same thing with the stick and lean it forward or back. So you can get any default natural position that's most comfortable for you, and you tighten everything down. So I'm going to show you how we pull apart the console and get everything out of there and what gets replaced and how it gets replaced. But it's really, really very simple. This is a 1-for-1 swap with what comes out of it. Nice and easy. And then these two pieces are just going to go on the front and the back of it, just like that. And this piece here will end up sliding in there, right? And I'm going to tell you, I was saying such nice compliments and now I'm going to complain, but it's a good problem to have. It's actually hard to get this in here because it is machined so precisely without any space that it actually gets really difficult to get this slid in. That just shows you how mated and how well made these things are. So there you go. That's it in there. So now it's all together, and then the stick goes in on here. So really the trickiest part's going to be getting the old stuff out, pulling the console apart, disconnecting some things, and then getting this in there. And getting everything reconnected should be actually a lot easier. For me, I've got that electroluminescent wire, so I've got to deal with that, get that out of the way. But we're going to tackle all of that in the rest of the video. And then just to give you one last look here, you can see the wiggle is almost non-existent. Here, listen. Very, very tiny. This is like just a perfect pair, you know? And if you take this one out, it is no different than the other one. There's no deviation between these things. Their tolerances are just amazing. So there you go. With that, let's swap over to inside the car and see what we see, and we'll take it from there. And as for the stick itself, as for my shifter handle, there are several varieties of what I can use, including the stock one. I'm not going to share any of that just yet. We're going to make that a little bit of a reveal at the end. So there you go. Okay, let's get to it. So this is what I was telling you about. This is just floppy, right? And then even when we put it in, see that? Look at how floppy that is. See? There's no stiffness. There's nothing good about this. So we're going to swap this out now. I showed you the mechanism. It's all under here, as you can imagine, right? This goes right in to the gear selector, and we've got those two long legs that are going to come up this way and secure. Right below this is going to connect, and we're going to have to take this boot off and the whole thing. So for me, I think the first thing is taking this out, which is really just as simple as prying it out of here and dragging it all the way around. Oops. I should probably get this out of the way, huh? It's junk anyway. And that comes up there. But anyway, so that's that. This comes out, and then the next step will be, see? There we go. So let me get this out and see what it looks like underneath in terms of any other connections. Obviously, there's going to be some sort of wiring harness behind here, maybe some other screws. All right, so look, we can see that's what we need to get to down there. See, once I get the boot out of the way, we can see. So anyway, let me get this all off, and then we'll see what's what. We'll be back. Okay, so this whole tray just pulls up really simply. It's just connected at the boot at this point, and you turn it around, and you can see right here, we've got this simple connector, which I'm guessing we can just wiggle out somehow. I just can't do it one hand. Oh, there's a clip underneath. So on the bottom side of this, there's a clip right here. So if I push that up, there you go. Even with one hand, that comes out. We are now disconnected. This is much easier than early models of this. So then the next thing is figuring out, looks like we've got some clips in here. So if I can squeeze these and push these up, then it looks like that's going to be this whole tray going around, sealing the boot into place. So I'm going to investigate that next. All right, so that was actually even easier than anticipated. These don't even really need to be squeezed. You just push from the bottom when it's on the underside of this. Just push on that and they pop right out. Now I am not at all connected to anything, so we can just weasel this thing out of it. Sorry for that. There we go. That is now out of the way, and we have access to everything right down here. So okay, let me get this out of the way. That is not what I was anticipating seeing. I gotta go further. I gotta get under this pan here. Now this is all, let me see. Okay, 2 bolts came out. There we go. 13mm socket does the trick. And then you can see it's in there, so it just slides right out. Let's see what's going on over here. Oh, one little piece. When you want to loosen up those 2 bolts, put it in gear. It was in 3rd gear when it was done. Just, you know, kept the wobble down to a minimum. There you have it. All right, I'm getting to this now. This is going to be a little bit trickier than I anticipated. I might need to pop, it's hard to see there. So you see we've got classic Dodge plastic clips absolutely everywhere, and there we go. 5-inch extension bar should do the trick. Actually, before I even take that out, can I get this out? We're going back to the research phase, guys, because I can't get this out successfully without destroying it. So looks like this wiring up there, my custom stuff over here, is all going to need to be run out. This was to the back of that. I don't know where these go. There are some screws up in the corners up here and here. But this leather is stapled in, so it's got to be the whole console is coming out next. So, all right. Couple of tips along the way. You can see they are not all the same size. Shorter one came out of here, longer ones came out of there and there, and this unclipped. So this you just pull back and it pulls out, and this looks like this button here goes in, and that'll do the trick to get this undone. Of course, as always, one-handed is next to impossible, so I'm putting this back down. Next thing is that, yes, this is not just an ease. See, all the way down there in the corner, probably right in the middle of your screen, right where the light is going, there is, that pan is connected to the body of the car right down there. So that means that this rubber boot does have to come out, as we knew, but then this whole console does have to come out, which is what I'm figuring out now. So there are some plastic clips down here. We can see those are already popped. Other side, this is now, see, this thing wants to move. I probably missed, there's some clips back here somewhere. And then the rear of this. So that's it. I'm going back in a little bit of research mode. This is the problem we have when you are a DIY hobbyist. You don't have somebody do it professionally, and you're not good enough yourself to be a professional. So this is what we learned. But we are making some progress. All right, so I'm back at it, and I'll figure it out and let you know. So on each side, we've got these guys, right? And that panel definitely needs to come off and see what's underneath it, and that's got to be the last of this, because everything up here wants to move, but the back doesn't want to budge. Now I pulled off the vents here, right? That's just this piece. That just literally, I just got my finger in the crevice and it popped right off. To get these guys out, I'm gonna see here, I've got this big flat tool, which may be too big. Yeah, I don't want to damage anything. So maybe we can get this little point in here and pull it off. I need an angled piece that's flat, so I can hook underneath there, but I don't have it. So let me do this a little bit more carefully without holding the GoPro, and I'll let you know how it goes. Well, there you have it. Look at that under there. Now, a couple things, right? So obviously, like, you know, Dodge is smarter than me. So you can see there is a little divot here that was on the bottom that I did not see because I didn't look closely enough, because I'm a jackass. So you can go right in there and pop it off. The clips are on the top and bottom, not the left and right. So look for that divot, get in there, and this thing falls right out in your hand on both sides. Here we go again. So those two side bolts are out now that I just showed you. So now I can pull this. Okay, let me show you what I did here just now. So you see, you got these guys here. They're not really meant to come out backwards, but they do. A little bit of wiggle. If you yank on them straight, you're gonna pull all these fins, these little barbs, the opposite way. You're gonna bend them, they're plastic, and then you're really fucked. So just wiggle it, get it out a little bit. And there's another one down here. See, and I think that is what's in the way. See, I got all these clips here. I don't know where this guy goes. But see, there we go. That is now out, but these wires all want to go back the other way. So we're gonna have to unclip everything. See, it comes out pretty easily. And then once we do that, and we have access to everything. That yellow, by the way, in case you're wondering, is your airbag module. Do not fuck with that, because A, you can make the airbags not work. B, you can make them blow up in your face right here and now. So just ignore that entirely. Let me unclip. Oh, I think I'm done. I think I'm all the way done. All right, let's see. I'll keep it rolling. And into the back seat it goes. Look at that. Ready to go. Cool. All right, now it's time to actually get the damn shifter installed. And there we go. All out. Now, this thing wraps up around the airbag module. I'm getting a little fed up with preparatory work, so I'm just gonna push this out of the way. I think. We'll see how that does. Now, we've got one 13mm back here, and then a bunch of 10s. Do the 10s before you lose your 10mm, because that's definitely going to happen. And then we will get back to it. All 6 10mm are off, so this plate should come right out. By the way, there's a plastic tube that was here before that's gone now. It's just a vent tube. It comes out here, travels along the side here, and hooks up to the rear vents. That thing just pops right out and gets the hell out of your way. So this is now going to be the first time. There we go. That is off. Okay. There's where the arms go up front. I'm gonna replace that. I don't know what, I'm a little confused about how this whole thing works. This middle piece, that middle piece is going to connect to the new one, right? So this stays, this whole thing here in the middle goes away. So in theory, I should be able to take off whatever's holding these guys on here and slide some sort of bolt out. There's a clip. I'm going to investigate that next. So, and then these are free. And then this is that down there. And then that'll be free. And then we can put the new guy in place. Let me get this out, and then we'll see how the new one goes in. Super awesome. All right, so it's a little bit of good news, bad news on this last piece here. So these, the legs come out. There's a pin on here, and there is a little clip on each of them. And once you do that, it pin slides right out. So what's the bad news part? It tends to fall down very easily as soon as you unclip it, because you can't do it with your finger. So you just pop a screwdriver behind it, pull the clip forward, and it comes flying out. That's the bad news, is that it falls down. The good news is, there it is on the ground under the car, because it is open to the ground. So in theory, see, that's that one. Now we just got to get the other one, and the clip on this one is on the bottom of it. So I've got to swing that around, and that'll fall down, and then the old shifter comes out, and we are done. Well, we're done removing it anyway. All right, so now that they're both out, we should be able to just, there you go. That is out. Going to the transmission, all apart. Here is what came out of this, and we will compare it with what's going in just a minute. All right, so here's what came out of it. See what we have? We have these two arms here, right? Look at that. I can actually, not by a lot, but I can squeeze these a little bit, and I don't have amazing grip strength, and that happens. So we've got that. It's held in by this, and then you've got this little piece is what that floor pan connects to on that. That's what came out. Here's what's going in. Look at the difference here, right? Barton, solid. I showed this to you when I got the parts, but now that you see them side by side, look at the difference this makes. Okay, and then not only that, but what we're gonna find is later, right, just the movement in here. Like, there is just a lot of movement in this, and there's just not nearly the same in this. So this is what's going to go back in. So we're going to start by putting those pins back through these legs and getting that situated. And then for the back, you see we've got this piece with just this one. It twists. If it's not tight, that'll move. And then for the new one, what's going to go on is going to be this here. See, these two, they slide back through there, and then you can move it however you need to, and then we screw it down here, right, on the pan at the end. And that's held in place by two, not one. There's no torque, there's no movement. It's just going to be a hell of a lot sturdier there, right? So, big difference. Here, this is what's about to go in. I'm going to get these pins done. Transmission link down here, and then this back piece. and we will be ready to close up. We're in. So here's what I'll tell you about these pins with the clips. Here's the one on the left, clipped on the top. The one on the right is clipped on the bottom. The one on the left was a little bit of a pain in the ass to kind of hold it like this and squeeze it in while getting the holes lined up, but it wasn't too bad. The one on the right was a real pain in the ass. You can see the way the hole is cut is that basically looking down on it, we can barely see the right side, so we had to get totally underneath. What I ended up doing was taking a pair of pliers and just holding on to the pin with the pliers with my left hand, and then sneaking this like a finger on the outside of the clip, and then using some leverage with the pliers, bringing them up against this as a fulcrum to pull the pin into it, and then just wiggling it with the finger until it found the right hole. And then once you know, it lines up perfectly, it slides right in. I took the pliers and just pushed them down to clip it on the bottom. So that's it. That's in on that side, and you can't really see, but underneath that's in, and this is now here. So now it's really just a matter of getting this rubber, the metal pan with the rubber boot, get that greased up, get a nice seal. Look at how filthy this is. You can see dirt comes up from underneath because we see the floor. So getting a good seal on the bottom rubber boot is critical. So we'll put the pan back in, we'll get the rubber boot on. This will flop back down like this. Air vent to the back goes back in, and then the console goes on. And last but not least, we'll put the stick and then clip the top of the leather boot back on. So that's it. Those are the steps. All right, back at it. So if you look down in here, you can see that is the boot. So that's in there. The pan is obviously all screwed down in here, and this rubber is back on top. So now it's just a matter of getting everything reassembled. And then I'll show you how this goes on. We've got two pieces here. One piece slides in on top. Some variability on left, right, front, back, where the natural sit is going to be. Some people like to have it sitting a little bit this way, maybe a little bit forward, or directly upright. This model gives you opportunity to have different leans when it's, you know, when you're not using it. So I'm going to get everything packaged up here, and then come back when it's time to do more of this and less of all of this stuff that's everywhere. So good grease seal in the lip in here, that's in there. So, and everything's tightened down nice. So that's it. Car is about to be back together. Okay, so the next step to get this on, we're going to have these two brackets, right? One on the front, one on the back. We've got 4 holes here. You've got 4 ovals here. And what that's for is once these go in like this, you see we can shift this left and right. So if you want this to be perfectly upright, you can. If you want to twist it to lean to the right or to the left, right, you can do that. So we're going to get these front and back. Let's first things first, just put them on here and just thumb tighten them. Okay, just enough to get it in there a little bit snug. Don't forget, of course, right, we've got washers and we've got lock washers. Let's get both of those in there. And very important, I know it feels like you would want to put this plate flat against it flush, but it actually is going to go this way, right? So we create that little channel for this piece to slide in after the fact. Okay, so we're going to get those on and take it from there. I know it's very sunny. So there you go. You can see we've got 4 of those in place. There you go. And then now I'm going to put the front one on. All right, those are finger tightened on as well. Okay, front and back, which means now this piece. Now the reason why we thumb tighten these is because this piece now needs to slide in here. And if we tighten them down too much and it can't get in, then we've got a problem. So that's in, there we go, all the way down. All right, now what we can do is we can, see, alter the resting position however we want. See, far left, far right, straight up and down, etc. So we can alter that right to where we want, and you may not get a great feel for it. So worst case scenario, you just pop the leather boot out later, right, lift it upside down over your shifter handle, and then you just loosen these a little bit and get the exact. Okay, make sure you put this on the right way. I know it'll fit either way, but because of the shape of the shifter handle and its connections, that has to go in this way, where you have this here. And you'll notice we're going to have the same thing here, where we've got holes, and the shifter handle itself has another one of these oval spots on it, so then we can get the resting position front back separately. So I'm going to go ahead and set this so it is exactly upright, which is actually to the far right here, because this leans left. So if you want the stick to be upright, you've got to push this bracket to your right. That's in there. That's the position I'm going to want it to be in. So now I'm going to tighten these guys down. One more step in securing this is, of course, the two middle bolts here and here on the front. These side four, right, front, back, left, and left, right, you know, connect these two pieces with this channel to the main shifter, but this will still slide up and down. So you got to get these two middle bolts in here as well. Again, thumb tighten them, right, finger tighten them just so they're in there. It's going to take a little finagling up and down, and to make sure that the holes here line up with the hole on here. It's very easy. It's much easier if you do it from the front, because you just get a lot more visibility. So that's in there. They're finger tightened. I'm going to tighten them all down now. These four on each front and back are all tightened. This is just to keep this steady in place. So I'm going to tighten those guys down, and then now this is completed in terms of the mechanism. So the last piece is going to be getting this handle into the boot. So flip your boot inside out. All right, so this is the right way, and when we see the angle, this is the way it fits down here perfectly. So then now the next step is going to be to push this inside out. Like this. We'll pull this all the way inside out. There's a rubber ring that runs around the inside of that. So here's the shift handle. This just needs to be worked around and around until you can get that rubber ring inside of that little groove that you just saw. It takes a lot of doing because it's leather, which means it doesn't really want to stretch, but just a little twisting and pulling will do that. And then we will connect this like this, get it locked into place, okay, and fold the boot down. So I think I'm going to clip that, plug it in. Don't forget to plug that in to the back for all of your controls, right, your heat and the radio volume and all that sort of stuff. So plug that in, clip all this back in here, and then you'll still have that gaping hole. Clip it in, fold the boot down, and you will be done. So I'm going to work on this, and then we'll come back once I get it all clipped in, and I'll show you the last step of putting the actual shift handle onto the shift handle mount. All right, check it out. We are all done. Here's what we got here. I told you about this, right? So again, there's that one oval piece which will allow us to secure it wherever we want the natural part to be. So first things first, I'm going to just thumb tighten this in here and this in here so it's on it but a little bit sturdy, and then I get the chance to place it exactly where I want, and then I will tighten everything down. So what we're going to use for these is we have these two. There you have it. So let's go ahead and get these set up and screw the whole thing in, and once I fold the boot down, it'll be the grand reveal of the actual shifter handle I selected. So there you have it. That's in there, nice and tight. This thing will not move forward and back. So let's put this, okay, old school pistol grip. Fold the boot down, push that into place, and there you have it. We are done. We are in. Check it out. That is clunky. Look, watch this. Look. That is stiff. Third, fifth, reverse. But that's it. That's the look. Old school pistol. So now we can, look at that. A little pop of orange color to match the rest of my Go Mango. Great grip here. If you're driving casually, you can still go on top like a ball. But this is really clunky, which is great. I mean, there's no misshifts on this. Look at that. The throw is so short that it's sometimes hard to even tell when it's in gear when you're not moving, because I'm used to really pulling this thing all the way back with this long yoke back, and now you don't have that yoke on this. It just really just goes forward and back really smoothly. A lot of pressure, not a lot of distance. It is exactly what we were hoping for. Looks great, feels great. I love the matte with the glossy orange. We are done.